Well, welcome to the Mesa City Council meeting study session for October 20th, 2025. Council member Goforth is unable to attend and she is excused. Otherwise, all council members are present. Item 1 is to review the agenda for tonight's council meeting. I know we went over this agenda. Council, are there any questions about tonight's agenda? If not, I have one on 4A, and that's the water. That's the drilling the well. Of course, I like water. I get thirsty now and then. Chris, sorry. But maybe you can just tell us, it shows $4.5 million in the cost of the well. Is that just for the equipment, excluding the cost to drill the well? So combined, maybe break it down between the drilling of a well site and total equipment.
Sure, Mayor, Council. So this is Desert Well 7, and this contract, it was a bid. So it's a bid award just to equip the well. So we already drilled it a couple of years ago, and that was a separate contract to a driller. That was about $2.5 million, if I remember correctly. So this $4.5 million would be everything after equipping. So it'd be building the site, all of the equipment, the electrical, just everything to get it to be operational.
So drilling a well and equipping it, you're talking about $6.7 million today?
Correct. Which is a big departure from, if you go back to 2019, you were less than half of that.
Yeah, well. All right, well, that was my question because I know that we've talked about putting some well sites on hold because of the cost to drill and equip them. But then this is something that we have to get in our water portfolio for well sites, especially in the southeast part of Mesa.
Correct, and so this well actually, so this is a drill. There was already a Desert Well 7. This is along Hawes between Baseline Guadalupe area.
Okay.
And so the existing Desert Well 7, it's like a lot of our older well inventory, half century old, needed to be re-drilled, so we re-drilled it. The good news is we're going to get a lot more capacity than the old well, so that's good, and it's in a good spot, east central Mesa. But then also another good part of the story is we bid this. So engineers' estimates, they still tend to be lofty in terms of not really understanding where costs are going. So we really worked with engineering to try to see what the market would bear. And some of the engineers' estimates for this was approaching $9 million for this, and there were 3 bids in the 4s. So the market was very telling. It's getting a lot more competitive, and we had, I can't remember how many bidders total, but we had closer to 10 than we had 5. We had a lot of bidders and good contractors too.
Very good. Are we drilling them deeper in the aquifer than they are today?
Well, it depends on where you're at in the city. These are going to be 1,000 to 1,200 feet deep.
Okay. I know it takes a lot of horsepower to pull that water out that deep.
Right.
All right, that's the only question I had on that. Thank you for the overview. Council, any other questions?
I would just like to highlight 5C. We had some significant rains this year and some localized flooding in Mesa. This particular project in District 6, which is my district, Pecos storm drain improvements. So we had a lot of flooding along Pecos Road too. So this hopefully will help take care of some of that.
Mayor and council, yes, certainly trying to stay ahead of these storms is a challenge, right? And we saw that, and I think Lance can, come up and speak to the specificity of this particular project. I will say, as you're very aware, Vice Mayor, the sheet flooding, that issues that we have off the superstitions in District 6 have been an issue. We've been dealing with, obviously, for decades in Southeast Mesa, where we've been trying to be very strategic at looking at improvement projects every time we have new roadways and new subdivisions coming in, of trying to address that. It's going to be a continued work in progress. Fortunately, I think with some of the development that's occurring in Apache Junction, that helps us in some ways with some of that sheet flow, but it does come down to the individual projects such as this one. So Lance, please.
Yeah, so Mayor and Council, this is a project that we've been working with the Flood Control District on for probably a dozen years. It's kind of one of those last areas here in the city of Mesa that where a significant amount of the sheet flow follows or follows and ends up in this corridor. where we do need some regional drainage improvements. And so that's what this Pecos storm drain and basin project is, addressing this from a larger regional standpoint. You can see from this last storm event, as you noted, there are needs there.
Yeah, well, absolutely, and this is a key economic area that this will help protect. So in addition to that, just to make the city attorney nervous, I want to extend to you, Mr. Butler, your staff, Mark and Brent, on a job well done last week. Was it last week, week before? A lot of rains, a lot of demands, some close panic. We had some close calls getting close where floodwaters were coming up to houses. Did not flood any houses in my district, which one neighborhood in particular. Thank you for your responsiveness to that. We need to continue to invest in the storm drains, even though we usually don't get a whole lot of rain, at least not all at one time. So, but to have this infrastructure is critically important to the safety of our residents, the ability to develop land for jobs. And again, nice job. Mark, apparently you drew the short straw with the midnight to 7 a.m. seniority. Not having seniority is yeah.
At the EOC.
At the EOC. Yeah. When you get more seniority, you can pick the day shift.
Yeah,
Thanks
Mayor.
again.
Yeah, Mayor, Vice Mayor. I just, of course, want to echo, what tremendous work our city staff did. So many different departments: transportation, Lance's team, public safety. Everyone pitched in, and the fact that a lot of this was happening potentially overnight, and we worked with Councilmember Spilsbury and especially residents in her district along the 60 corridor. Was of grave concern. Vice Mayor, you had some basins that were very topped off in your area. So, but it shows the importance of these projects, right? And in a decade, we've had 2 100-year storms, right? And so we talk about that this doesn't happen often, but it's happening more than it should, especially recently. And so I think the improvements. I mean, engineering's been working ever since 2014 on those basins along the 60 and in conjunction with all the parks and everyone else, and the fact that we were able to sustain such a tremendous rainfall and did, I mean, we dodged a bullet with the last wave of storms, thank goodness. Unfortunately, that caused some severe damage, of course, to our neighbors to the west, but the fact that we were able to come out of that in as good a shape as we did, considering the amount of rain that fell over that period of time, is tremendous testament to the amount of investment that this city council, the councils before it, have made into storm drainage, and how important that is, not just in District 6, but throughout the city.
Very good. I had the opportunity to pick up former Mayor Alex Finter, and we toured all the retention basins and met with transportation that Sunday morning, and they were very full, as we know. Unfortunately, we didn't get any more rain. That allowed us to pump down the basins, and the flood control for ADOT was completely full there, those lateral canals there. And there was some debris in there. Maybe, Lance, you could share with us, when we have these projects, there's also a reimbursement mechanism for these flood control projects. And hopefully this complies with that.
Right, so this particular item, Mayor, that you're referring to is the Pecos area, but we work in close tandem with the Flood Control District. In many cases, either a 50-50 share. In this case, for this particular IGA, is 60-40. It can vary, but somewhere in that range, 70-30, 60-40 with flood control. They've been a great partner, as you've noted, with these recent storms. A number of these different projects that we've done over the years proved out and showed with this recent event that we had. But yeah, we continue to work closely with them on that. They've been, like I said, a great funding partner in working on resolving these things. As many know, drainage is not something that generates money, but you need it when you need it. And so we've done a number of projects here over the last 10 to 15 years that have addressed a lot of issues throughout the city.
Great, thank you. With that, if there's Ms. Duff.
I don't have a question, but I just wanted to acknowledge item 5B and the agreement, the grant that we have for sworn firefighter sworn cancer screenings and the purchase of automatic CPR devices. I really appreciate that we have these cancer screenings for firefighters. We've lost too many to cancers, which are job related, and I'm very happy to see this grant come through.
Thank you. And our chief just walked in. Did you want to expand on that, Chief? Is that okay, Ms. Duff?
You want to explain the fight you got in again?
I lost. I get in the fight and I lost. All right.
Story gets better every time.
Mayor, members of the council, thank you on the FEMA grant that we were awarded. Yes, thank you for acknowledging. We're excited that it's going to be used for firefighter screenings for cancer and also for automated CPR devices too. So we won't have to be standing up in the back of an ambulance as we're doing CPR en route to the hospital. So both pieces of equipment that we will be getting in the screenings will be very beneficial to us and the community. Thank you.
Great, thanks, Chief.
Yeah, I'll add, I've had the opportunity to use those new devices that we're buying, and they are far more effective than one of us standing over trying to do CPR. So we've saved lives with those, so they're good devices.
Well, very good. If there's no other questions, we'll move over to share events and conferences attended. Anybody would like to start? Vice Mayor?
I'll do one thing. We had a meeting of the America 250 Committee. As many of you know, our nation will turn 250 years next year, so we have been doing programming. I want to do a shout out to a lot of our departments, libraries particularly, as well as Parks Department, Historic Preservation, Visit Mesa, Downtown Mesa Association have all been working to program into their existing events a celebration of America's 250th anniversary. And I was happy to hear on our meeting the other day that Mesa was praised by the state's America 250, that we are far ahead of a lot of every other city pretty much in the state in planning our events and what we're planning. So really happy to see this come along. I think you're going to be proud next year, Mayor, and we look forward to the events.
Thank you. Anyone else?
I have a long list since we didn't have study session last week, and I don't want to cover every single thing, but I want to mention a few things that were significant for me in participating in. On the October 10th, I attended the Arizona Forward Sustainability Summit, and a couple of the Mesa Youth Climate Action Fund grants recipients are working as consultants, business consultants for zero waste, and they actually presented at the summit. So these are youth who were funded through our I guess you call it MyCAF or Mayor, Mesa, not Mayor, but Mesa Youth Climate Action Fund grants, which were grants from the Bloomberg Foundation. And so these youth used the grants to try out an idea that they had about for climate change sustainability. And then they're actually working in the field and doing things, and now they're presenting at a summit, and it just all started from being funded through the grant. So it's significant work that we're doing, and I hope after the funds run out that we find more grant money to continue that program. I also was able to speak to the Rainbow Girls Leadership Group with Fire Chief Mary Camelli on October 11th. So thrilled to speak to young girls exercising their leadership from junior high and high school. On last Friday, Councilmember Spilsbury and I did a walk, bike, and roll to school safety event with Lindbergh Elementary students and how to safely cross streets. We made the route from retention area to school. There was a lot of people involved with the kids and parents. And I don't know, you think we had like I don't know, 70 or 80 people, and the news covered it, and so I'm so glad to participate in that. We're also launching in the city of Mesa and the Transportation Department a Look Twice campaign for all road users, cars, bicyclists, pedestrians, to look once, then once again before crossing pathways. So the Look Twice, October is National Pedestrian Safety Month. 4 people every week are involved in traffic accidents. 2/3 of those are fatalities of vulnerable road users, which are pedestrians, bicyclists, and motorcycles. And so Mesa's goal is to reduce serious injuries and fatalities by 30% by 2030. So let's all take that on. There is a pledge online if you'd like to participate, and some prizes. Right after that, a few hours later, I went to the Guerrero Rotary tree planting. We planted 55 trees. Thank you to Stephen Addison from our sustainability department for coordinating that event. The Arizona Sustainability Alliance, Arbor Day Foundation, Mesa Parks and Recreation. We had some Amazon volunteers, some other city volunteers that showed up. So thank you to everyone on our way to getting those 1 million trees by 2050. And this will really serve the Guerrero Park neighborhood in bringing cooling and a place to gather. Next Saturday is another tree planting that will be at Reed Park, and we'll be doing 100 trees. So well on our way. And then on Friday, that afternoon, Julie was honored at the One Community Spotlight on Success for her advocacy in the community. And very proud of her. And I just want to thank you for being such a loving person and not knowing any boundaries to that. It was deeply moving. That night, I also went to Diamond Don's. This is a new place in downtown Mesa. They had a music showcase. They had a number of artists. I tried to stay late, but I didn't make it all the way. So each artist did like one song out on the stage. They had great performers. The place was packed. A huge variety of music. It was outdoors in their patio area. Really fun and well attended. So thank you to Don Salter and his son Velvet Cash for expanding the footprint from the Salt Mine Studios to Diamond Don's, which includes some foods and drinks to showcase new upcoming musicians. And then yesterday I went to the Phoenix Pride Parade. City of Mesa participated in the parade along with many other cities, businesses, and organizations. It was tremendous, so much love and acceptance, and I really love the Pride Parade. And we're definitely a stronger community together, which is refreshing, especially in this contentious time. And then last night, I went to the ASU Remix the Future, which is a 4-day civic hackathon. So throughout the weekend, they had students and artists and technologists and community members collaborated on immersive projects inspired by Mesa's Climate Action Plan and public health priorities. There were many awards given to these young groups. The grand prize was AZ Water 2030. They have a short website, but it's the cost of growth, looking at the use of our resources and the tremendous growth they were experiencing, especially in technology sector. So it's amazing. I'm so glad that we have ASU Mix Center here hosting these events. They're so innovative and in these technologies through gaming and AR, VR, and immersive technologies to look at our future, experience our world differently, and explore solutions. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Pillsbury?
Just a couple things I'll add. I have a cough, so I'm maybe I shouldn't be speaking right now, but I went to the Children's Action Alliance Champions for Children luncheon last week or the week before last, and I'm on that board, and that's a statewide organization that is doing advocacy for children and families. So I appreciate that organization. And then Mayor, you and I went to the MCC ribbon cutting for the construction laydown yard, which is sponsored by Lowe's, and a great partnership with businesses and educational, see, there we go. Do you want to continue this one?
I sure can. So I brought some tools of the trade. I used to be a masonry and concrete guy, so I brought some of my trowels and my brick hammers and stuff and showed a little show and tell. But we appreciate Lowe's and all the other developers and construction trades there that were champion how we could build a workforce in the construction trades and work with your hands. So that was had lunch with us for us there. That was very nice. I will continue with that. Councilmember Duff and I, we did a Good Samaritan recognition at 708, and that was a first responders, as well as there was a cardiac event at Brimhall Junior High. CPR was initiated, and the individual was saved and transported to one of the area hospitals, and he's a former Mesa police officer, so he lived through his event, which was pretty remarkable. His daughter was there. I attended a college-bound Hoops for Hoop gala at the Doubletree. That's for first-generation individuals wanting to go to college. So they provide that. And then this morning, Sharon Skinner, myself, and Simon Tapia, we attended the Salt River Pima Maricopa Indian Community, their 12% meeting over at Odyssey there in Scottsdale. With that coincided with our co-meeting today with the Salt River Indian Community, their president and council at the Post. So we had a great opportunity to interact with them. It'd been some time, 3 or 4 years? I can't remember, something like, Mr. Butler? Since we'd done, I remember doing it once when I was on council, but.
Yeah, absolutely. Mayor, we were saying we historically had kind of an annual back and forth between SRP, MIC, and the city of Mesa. I think COVID disrupted that cadence of that, and so it had been a while since we had been together.
Yeah, and I know the city receives large amounts of grant funding from the community, and we appreciate all their support and service there. That's all I have. Ms. Spilsbury, did you want to reconnect?
I was just going to say a shout out for Dia de los Muertos this weekend.
Oh,
So
yeah.
that's Saturday and Sunday at Mesa Arts Center. And if you haven't been, you need to go. It's amazing.
Great, thank you. I know we'll all be there. Well, with that, anything else, council? If not, I'll defer to Mr. Butler, schedule of our meetings.
So Mayor, of course, will convene upstairs for the regular council meeting and then back on Thursday morning at 7:30 for study session.
Oh, great, wonderful. I'll entertain a motion to adjourn. Ms. Spilsbury, Mr. Adams, all in favor say aye.
Hi.
Aye. Okay, we're adjourned.